Just like the majority of the tools in our Creative Suite, Fireworks is really no different when it comes to the toolbar. So we kind of need to know our toolbar first and our tools before we can really get a whole lot done within the program. But fortunately, it's very similar to a lot of our other programs also. So everything's in sections. I've got my selection tools, bitmaps, vectors, web, and colors, and my views. So it's really easy to see exactly what I want. So I've got my selection tools, and behind it, I have my select behind tool. So anything that has an arrow in the right-hand bottom corner of that particular tool means there's more tools in that subset. So we can actually see what we're working with here. Instead of a blank page, let's go ahead and open a document. So I'm going to go to File and Open. And on my desktop are my project files. And in Chapter 1, I'm just going to open up tools.png. Okay, so at least have something on here. So if I were going to crop, that's actually fairly self-explanatory, and hopefully, you're aware that if I use my crop tool and I crop, then that's going to be the only thing that I see on my page. Anything that has a bounding box to it like that, I'm able to just escape out of it. So I have an export area tool, so that gives me this little area that I can put my bounding box around, and if I double click it, I'm able just to quickly export just that particular little section as a GIF or a JPEG or a PNG. So that's handy. Then I've got my basic bitmap tools. So I've got my marquee tool and my oval tool and a lasso and a polygon lasso. So if I'm trying to select, something within my image, then I have my marching ants. And yes, that is indeed the technical term. So I will deselect that, which on the Mac it's Command-Shift-A, and on the PC it'd be Control-Shift-A, and I'd be able to deselect that selection. I have a magic wand, so it works off of my tolerance, and I see my tolerance in my property inspector down here. Wherever I click, it's going to select the range of colors. And if I want to add to it, then I just hold down my Shift key. Or if I want to have less colors selected, I hold down my Alt on the PC and Option on the Mac. And I'm going to deselect that again. Then I've got my paintbrush, so I can paint. I have a pencil tool. I have my eraser tool. And a blur, sharpen, dodge, burn, and smudge. So my dodge is something that we probably use on a fairly regular basis. So I'm going to dodge out part of my image. And I can make something lighter. There we go, making my dog lighter here. And if I burn, it's going to darken it. Then I've got my rubber stamp tool, a color replacement tool, and a red eye removal. In my vector tools, my typical line tool, I do have a pen tool, so if I want to create my own shape, I'm able to do so with my pen tool. Get rid of that. And my favorite set of tools, which is my rectangle, ellipse, polygon, and a whole slew of auto shapes. So I could even do a little donut. And I've got an option to change how little or how big my radius is in the middle of my circle. Those tools are great fun to work with, and we'll explore those in a little bit more depth later. I have my text tool and a whole bunch of tools here for working with a freeform shapes. I've got a freeform tool, reshape tool, path scrubber, and path scrubber tool subtractive. We will look at these more in depth a little bit later. My web is so where I can make a slice. So if I use my slice tool here, I get to make a slice. And if I don't like to see those as I work, because that can get a little distracting, I can click on this button over here and not have to actually see it. They're still there, but I'm not actually visually seeing that slice. Then I have a hotspot tool. Now this is great for when I'm wireframing and I just want to link my pages together in a PDF so that my client can take a look at the files when I put it together in Pages. Then I've got my colors and my eyedropper, so if I want to pick up a color out of my document, there it is. For my stroke, same thing with my fill, and I have my default colors. And whichever one I have chosen, I can get rid of that stroke, for instance, and I can flip those around really easily. Now I've got a view down here at the very bottom. So my regular view, my full screen mode, where I still am able to see my tools, and my full screen mode without anything else. And my tab key brings me back. And my F key will cycle through all those views. Then I have my hand and my zoom tool. And those are our tool sets.